in PSWG, we've actually started to test out a new system that you could actually go play right now with the most recent alpha that we've put out. That it does allow you to, in fact, fly like you're in Battlefront. So you move the mouse, and it's more of a delayed input instead of like a direct, point your mouse, go this direction kind of system. So it feels like there's a fluidity to how you're controlling a ship, that the ship carries some weight, or there's some inertia there, and so you can move the mouse, of course, to control the ship, like you do in Battlefront, and there's also an option for having uh, some keyboard control. I don't remember if
Oh,
Battlefront lets you do
keyboard
this.
control.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
like
Battlefront lets you do this to some extent,
front.
but there are two input modes for the new ships. Uh, there will be, of course, the mouse control that we've had in the past, and there's going to be keyboard input
Keyboard
control
control.
that allows you to roll with A and D, or yaw with A and D, depending on what settings you have, and pitch with W and S, and uh, and then your mouse doesn't do anything. And so, well, so there's a two-part system. You can have mouse exclusive control, you can have keyboard exclusive control, or there's a great mode that is keyboard throttle and mouse input that's different from Battlefront mouse input. So left and right on the mouse will be roll instead of yaw, and you can roll and push up and down on the mouse to pitch. And so the pitch will be the same as Battlefront, but you're probably going to have roll priority on the mouse x-axis. And so that's actually something that we've already found that I guess people didn't like. I prefer that input mode in my opinion, but we found
Okay.
that that's something that people didn't like. And so there is that hybrid mouse keyboard mode. There's a secondary option that you can set, that you can have mouse control yaw on the X instead of roll. And so overall it'll be very similar to how you fly in Battlefront.
I see. Okay. Since this is a team Q&A and you're gonna do a lot of stuff, I might as well put a question in the Twitch because I don't really want to deflank the system for like the Q&A because that would be kind of a little bit stupid. So hang on, let me just all right, I'm just while I'm typing the question. So basically, how are you go basically in Parzy's Star Wars mod, the lightsaber combat, the lightsabers, they were good, even though the lightsaber models like the hilt was pretty good. Another thing the Star Wars mod is that you couldn't really do an actual lightsaber battle. Like you really couldn't actually do like a cool lightsaber battles where you have
It
that.
it's pretty
So
hard to
I'm
actually
wondering,
have any.
yeah, it's pretty hard, but
It,
I'm
yeah,
wondering,
it's gonna
will
be
there
very
be
hard
like
to have any contact between actual items and blades. So like even in Battlefront, that's not completely possible, because it's just we don't currently have any of the systems to make that possible.
okay,
So it's
yeah,
probably not. It'll be spammy. No shit.
oh,
But yeah,
Unfortunately, for as much effort as it would, well, as cool as it would be to have a feature like that, unfortunately, the way that Minecraft does, hit scanning for attacks and for block places and
for
for general
blocking all
for
that,
general
it can't really
interactions.
be done.
You
Yeah,
can
I get
fake it.
that.
There's an extent to which you can fake it. The only states that you can really query about a player are whether or not they're currently attacking and whether or not they're currently blocking. And so really the best that you can do is
Maneuver around them and try to get them off guard, or just
right. There's
yeah.
that. But in a purely, what is up, Mama Bell? How's it going?
Yeah,
Glad to have you in chat. Uh,
yeah. I
Thank
see.
you.
Well, all right, that kind of makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, yeah, to answer to your answer, because why not? We could do that. They're advertising right here, but there is a mod called Legends mod where basically it has like 4 additional mods called packs that is in the mod. So it's like has superhero,
Yeah,
kaiju, horror characters, Star Wars. But yeah, I'm not going to explain about the Legends mod, but the Star Wars pack it has the cool thing about you could become a Sith or Jedi and different and have different powers and all that. Well, for some reason, apparently, the most coolest thing about the back in the Legends mod is that it's actually the lightsabers, like combat. Actually, like when you swing, there's different lightsaber stances and attack, double-handed, one-handed, reverse, and then just none. Another cool thing is that when you actually it will act to a different direction, like in the Star Wars movies where if you actually clash with another player, actually won't damage them, and it will clash the 2 sabers. And so when you're fighting with the lightsabers, you will have to clash and actually parry, like in a real sword fight, and you will have to maneuver around different force powers. And the Legends mod, the creator Tayo and other developers he has to help with the mod, they actually were able to make this possible. So yeah, so it's probably not going to be the same system if you do end up trying to make a cool little combat system with lightsabers. But if you had any help from the Legends mod, like what kind of different what kind you add to your lightsaber combat system and not just copy it?
So the Legends mod you're talking about, that is the mod that's being worked on by the guy who does advanced lightsabers, right?
No, it's Tayo.
Okay.
He's technically of the Superheroes Unlimited mod, which adds superheroes, but now the Legends mod has Superheroes Unlimited, but also has like horror characters, and with it adds legacies where you could actually have the powers of each hero, like the Flash, super speed abilities. But the cool thing, sorry if I'm rambling and just sponsoring about it, but you could actually customize and select what powers you want for your legacy and your with the Star Respect. You can actually switch what force abilities you want and all that, and what kind of Sith Lord you want to be. It's technically the reason why the Sith and Jedi and technically all the legacies like symbiote and all that are not just preset suits. They're the reason why they're not suits. You could actually be your own character. So yeah. But another cool thing is that if you had any help from the creator, Tayo, he's the creator of the Legends mod, not advanced lightsabers, no, that's a different guy, Fisk. If you had any help if he actually helped you and give or diagnosed of the lightsaber system from his mod, the lightsaber system in your what would you change your lightsaber? What do in your if you were going to make a lightsaber combat type style?
Well, ideally, if we created lightsaber combat that went beyond how Minecraft does their combat system, ideally we'd have a system that worked similarly to how games like Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast.
And Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order's lightsaber mechanics are kind of gamey.
Bit different.
Yeah, their lightsaber mechanics are more just point and click.
Jedi Knight got it. The Jedi Knight series had the best lightsaber combat.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty much out of any of the games.
I will tell you that
the amount of control you had over it.
Yeah, so if there was any game that we would model lightsaber combat after, because I'm perfectly open to overhauling how Minecraft does combat. I'm willing to take the time to do that. But unfortunately, the more things like that we replace, the less mods that our mod is then compatible with, because it guts an entire system that some other mod may rely on. So I'm perfectly open to doing that if there's enough.
That would end up stealing the. Sorry if I'm cutting. The Legends of Mod a whole unique system, and that would kind of get some. There will be some bad bugs, basically.
Yeah, so I'm totally open to completely overhauling how Minecraft does combat if we found the needs appropriate. But if there was a game that we were going to model lightsaber combat after, it would definitely be the old Jedi Knight games. There's a lot of
kind of like adding its own mod.
Yeah.
Like
So
for Jedi, for Jedi Academy. Sorry if I'm.
no. So the way that Jedi Academy did it, I thought was really smart. I haven't played them in a while, but I remembered really enjoying the amount of finesse that basically you had to have instead of just kind of point and click. That there was block timing, and there was stances that you could take and things like that. And so
And changing the stances changed how you attacked, and little bits of movement in the sticks could change how you attacked.
right.
Yeah. I
It was good
some
to have you in,
videos
Mama Bell. Thank you for being here.
with Evolution of Modern Combat. I think it's a mod that actual good blocking to Jedi Academy, because from the base Jedi Academy game, when I tried it, you could never block. Like, you could not block like that.
Blocking is a bit difficult. I play Jedi Outcast 2 the most, and it's sort of, you gotta like learn to push your stick to actually block, and then you can get it off. There's a lot of very fine movements of the stick you need to use.
Yeah.
My brother could never get it for the life of him, but a lot of nice
Right.
hidden features in the game.
All right. So another question. I'm sorry if I'm just hogging the questions from other people,
Mm-hmm.
but here's the thing: if you were still trying to develop Parsi Star Wars mod and trying to make it better in every way, technically revamping it into Star Wars Parsi Star Wars mod, what kind of aspects would you change about that mod? What things would you change?
Other than everything,
Everything. Yeah.
is there something specific that you wish was changed? Because
Actually, good brought up, because actually yes, like what is like feature that you would definitely change, like a feature in the original first month that you absolutely changed because it was just too like OP or just buggy.
Oh, if there was any system that I thought was buggy, it was the not only the quest system, but the original Jedi robe system for force powers.
Yeah, because it doesn't really make sense because, well, they're just robes for the Jedi. I know you kind of modded on because it has all the knowledge of the Force and all that, but the most stupidest thing about that, about robes holding all the Jedi power, would it sense, and because that would actually be kind of a weird thing, because, well, first off, imagine if there was like a bug where for some reason the Jedi robe would be, look at all the, for some reason they would be ridiculously OP, like you would get one hit, or like it was that you would just one hit and all that, or the robe itself
At that really a bug. That's just something
would
that's
just not
broken.
work.
Yeah, that's just not having any semblance of being balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry about that kind of thing. I think we can take a pretty balanced approach to everything here.
All right. So anyway, another question.
think we
I
have
feel so bad answering more questions because I feel like I'm hogging.
Andrew.
Let's see. What is it?
Just as an aside, we've been talking in dev chat a bit, so we're gonna move our system to being you're gonna be able to ask questions onto the in the Twitch chat, and we'll be answering them in the voice chat. But you won't actually be able to talk. So this is just it's not it has nothing to do with you. It's just because if some people join and they have a lot of background noise, it's distracting and takes away from the experience. So if you have questions, please ask them in the Twitch chat, and then we'll answer them if that's okay.
All right. All right. Let me just. All right. Hang on. Let me just. I.
Thank
I
you,
don't know.
Blight
It's
Ed.
just for some reason I just feel like Twitch chat questions of is talking answering their questions in the comic section. But technically, if you're in a Discord chat, you literally have to get all your questions out. But
Right.
I might my question in the chat. So hang on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Carolina B168. Man, today was the first day that I had set up Streamlabs to start streaming. Thank you, Torpedo Tony. Today was the first day that I had set up Streamlabs to actually start streaming, because I'd been using just like normal OBS to record everything, and so I had set up Streamlabs today to have all these chat events and stuff like that. And it scared the bejesus out of me, because I got it all set up and I went to go do something else, and then I just started getting all these notifications like, this person followed your channel, this person followed your channel. It was making all this noise. I'm like, what's making all of that noise? And I come back and it's like, oh, okay, it's Streamlabs being really really loud and still playing notifications even when I'm not online.
It's funny.
So something we're doing right now, which is something I thought was going to take much longer to debug, is that I might have posted this in dev chat, but we were having an issue with the model rendering system, where models that were being loaded, some of the faces would just be like pitch black, and it would be fine when if we had disabled ambient occlusion for all the models would themselves look fine. But then, of course, models wouldn't have ambient occlusion, and so they wouldn't get darker when they're supposed to be nearer to something. And so I thought I was going to have to, and I'll simulate what it looked like by undoing all of the changes I just made. Come on, there we go. And so that was something that I had tried to fix the other day and couldn't get working, and I'd poked at it a couple of different places, and I'd talked to the folks at Fabric to see if they had any insight on it. And it came back that it was obviously something that I was doing wrong, because obviously their model loading system is working fine for everybody else. And so that was something that I thought was going to take much longer to fix than it did, but I sat down here today and started streaming. And here's what it looked like before. Some faces were just completely whack. Totally not representative of how the light was scattering across it. And so it turns out that I was loading vertices wrong, that I had created a thing to move a vertex into the position that... Why is my audio only on one side? That's an excellent question. I have no idea why my audio is only on one side. I wish I could fix it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's fine in Discord, but in Twitch it seems to only be coming out of one ear. So that's definitely something that I'm going to fix before I start streaming again. Yeah, but anyway, so we'd had vertices being loaded for all the models, and they were being offset to put them in the position that they need to be to look like they're centered on a block. And so it turns out that when we were loading normals for all the faces, it was doing that same thing. And so normals being offset obviously makes them not normal anymore. And so we just had to remove that offset specifically for face normals, and now lighting looks really nice. What storyline would PSWG have that would be different from PSWM? Uh, yeah, okay, Coda, I see it. You're in voice chat. You can ask that question out loud, but
I know, I just feel bad.
yeah, no, you're
Okay,
good.
no.
So what storyline would PSWG have that would be different from PSWM? PSWM's storyline was written after eating, like some pizza on a Friday night kind of thing. It took us like 45 minutes to come up with the plot of the entire storyline for all 4 factions of the original mod. Uh, I wouldn't have actually said that there was a storyline there, other than some vague semblance of being able to interact uh, with some of the characters in a way that may or may not have felt natural, depending on how much of a robot you are. So for this new upcoming storyline, I'd like it to focus on an aspect of the Rise of the Empire era. I would like it to follow, you as maybe not a hero, but as definitely a central character within your faction. So you can choose who you're trying to, choose who you're trying to root for, who your allies are, who your enemies are, and so. If you want to just live in the middle of the desert and be a hermit Jedi, that's your prerogative. You can do that. If you want to be if you want to be the rebellion's new rising hotshot pilot, that's definitely something that's on your plate that you can do. If you want to be the next apprentice of the Dark Lord of the Sith, that's obviously something that we would like you to be able to do. So we would like this storyline to be a lot more dynamic. We would like it to encourage a lot more choice for players. We would like it to allow players to feel like whatever storyline they're playing is unique to the choices that they have made. And my dream would be that this system would work even in parallel. Is Jar Jar going to be in PSWG? No. Yeah, my dream is that this entire system would be able to work on a server as well. So if you and your buddies were all playing that, even if y'all took just barely different routes, that you would all have a unique playing experience, and it wouldn't just be okay. Now all 4 of us or whatever need to go get this one item or talk to this one guy or something like that. Are you in the voice chat? I can check. No.
Do you want me to talk about a little bit of what Noted Gecko and I were talking about storylines and basically like dialogue with NPCs?
Yeah, please.
So another team member, Noted Gecko, he can't come tonight, but he is a team member. I think he was builder, but we've been working
he recently
on some.
Moved.
So he doesn't have good internet, so. Yeah, so we've been working on some speech files and different progressions on how you would interact with NPCs. So if I can actually pull something up and just read it. So each dialogue option will give you, it's not totally free, but it'll give you a few different cycles to go through, and you can basically like explore different choices on how you interact with different NPCs or characters. And we've also been brainstorming some different quest lines for the different factions, which are a lot more in depth than I think what was in Parzy's Star Wars mod. So, yeah, like Parzy already mentioned, it's basically possible for you to be. It should be possible for you to basically roleplay or, live your adventure as basically a nobody to, hotshot pilot. Yeah, so here's an excerpt of what Gecko wrote about interacting with a Sith ghost on Korriban, for example. So a Sith ghost would give you the dialogue option saying, why? Why have you entered here? And as a player, you can choose to respond with 3 options. Option A is, I'm a Sith, like you. Option B is, what are you? Option C is, I'm not afraid of you. And each of these different responses will lead you to will lead you to get a different response and reaction from the actual Sith Ghost NPC. And from there are a few more options, and you can go basically down the ladder, and you should be able to cycle through to, I guess, know all the different dialogue choices and get all the information that you could possibly want. So it's a pretty standard system used in a lot of like bigger AAA RPG games like Skyrim. So it's nothing new, but it should be pretty unique and give you a better sense of immersion.
And then here's a question more for Parsi about this specific aspect of the mod.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to have multiple characters or multiple like dialogue options, how are you guys gonna go about making this? Like, how much of a how much effort would that be? And would it be possible to make it computer generated? Like, how would that work?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So sorry. So for what Sind was just saying about how if each different like person has different dialogue and you can choose different options and each one leads to more different options, how much work would that be, and would there be a way to make it like computer generated?
That would be a huge undertaking to create a storyline that felt long enough to be really immersive and to have all the options that we'd like to have. I think a number of it, a number of dialogue trees could be computer generated. I think some of them could, be templated, just from a development point of view. I think some of them could be templated, to an extent that you wouldn't feel if you played, one track versus another that you're doing the same thing. But they could all follow maybe the same basic structure. I definitely like to look into, maybe bringing on a few more people that's their only job, is writing dialogue. But that was definitely the reason that in the previous mod that dialogue was so poor, was because it was one person writing it, and we simply just didn't have enough time to actually write content specifically for that.
Someone in the general chat has asked, how many plants will be in the game?
How many plants or how many planets?
Planets.
It's funny, because there are also a number of plants that I'd like to include.
I actually have done some of the textures for those.
Yeah.
Should do more.
So planets, that's a really tough question. I'd love to have all of the planets in the mod, but the Legends directory on Wikipedia currently indexes just over 3,000 planets, I think. More realistically, I'd definitely like to include any planet that was visited for any large amount of time in a movie on screen. And so if a movie used a planet as like a major plot point, obviously I'm going to include that in the mod. So things like Geonosis, or if you haven't seen Rise of Skywalker yet, I'd mute me for the next, I don't know, minute or two. But I definitely like to include planets like Exegol. I've been working. Well, one of the big fights I had with Forge was that I was talking to them about what kind of undertakings I would need to do to fake having structures that were, maybe kilometers tall instead of just like 256 blocks. It came up that they said, don't even try it, can't be done, which means that I need to try it, and there's a way to do it. But I definitely like to include, large structures like that big block on Exegol, or I'd like to include, the full extent of Cloud City, if that's something that we can do. I have some plans that if I can't figure out a way to maybe even just fake having, excessively tall structures, that maybe for things like Cloud City, we can take a slice of it, maybe like the top 256 meters, and just say, okay, we're going to build out all of this these will all be, player travelable areas in survival. Uh, but outside of that, you won't be able to travel down any further in this structure. So maybe the idea is that we'd include the ground level, or we'd include the top level if it's something that we feel like you would need to see the ground on. Uh, Geonosian arenas are definitely
Important
something I'd like to
landmarks.
include. Right, important landmarks. So basically, if it had any major screen time, it's definitely something that I'm going to be working to include. Will we be able to blow up the Death Star? Short of having a Death Star dimension and eviscerating every block inside of that in some form of the highly theatrical explosion, probably not. Just as a technical limitation, not only from, we either need to include the entirety of a sphere. Thank you, MLK Jiao. How? Thank you, MLK JAO. Yeah, as a technical limitation, if we wanted the trench run to feel real, then we'd have to make a completely flat dimension with the trench. Or if we wanted, an approach or an exit to feel real, then we would have to create just a 256 block tall sphere, which is something that we were trying to do for 1.4, and I might even have pictures of it, and I could go bring that up. 1.4 of PSWG that never got released. I'm referencing. But it realistically, the entirety of the Death Star will probably not be something that you would be able to get in one shot, or you'd be able to see on one screen. And so maybe a moon. I don't know if it's possible to connect dimensions where traveling high enough enters another dimension. I'll touch on that in just a second. So essentially, we'll probably include different parts of the Death Star as different dimensions. So maybe there'll be specifically a trench dimension that'll have the surface of the Death Star with turrets and turbo lasers and stuff like that, with the trench that you can fly through. And maybe there'll be another dimension that's specifically like a lateral cross section of the Death Star, that there are hangars and barracks and armories and things like that. That maybe that's where a lot of quest content will happen, but it's unlikely that you'll see the entire Death Star on screen at once. Outside of and if we did include a Death Star exploding in the mod, the way we would do it would be, it'd be much like the view that the Rebel soldiers the Rebel soldiers had from Endor, and the Empire had from Endor at the end of Return of the Jedi, where they looked up into the sky and they could see the tiny little Death Star, and it went boom, and there was a nice little explosion in the sky. That would probably be the extent at which you would be able to see, the Death Star explode. Will Korriban be included? I would definitely like to include Korriban, yes.
I think we have had some textures made for it, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it's really red, right?
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, we've definitely started working on things towards Korriban.
I mean, I feel most of the textures are probably going to need to get overhauled into the newer Java style.
Definitely.
Yeah. I don't know if it's possible. Whack-a-Null saying, don't know if it's possible to connect dimensions while traveling high enough enters another dimension. That is actually something that the mod should be able to handle pretty easily. Yeah, as far as functionality goes, that's definitely something that would like to, but am going to include, as most likely the preferred method of changing dimensions is you hop into a snub fighter or something, and you fly out of the atmosphere. It'll take you into a free space dimension. In that free space dimension, you can pull up your navigator, kind of point in the direction you want to go, get into hyperspace and drop out of hyperspace, in the same space dimension, but now you can see the planet that you're moving towards, and as you get close enough to that planet, you'll quote unquote drop into the atmosphere, and and then it'll transfer you to the really high surface on that planet. And you can coast in and land. When will the mod come out? I have no idea.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. Please tell me when you know.
Uh,
Uh, and that probably answered your previous question, Wacano. Will vehicle flight be limited to world height? No, actually, entities have always been able to travel outside of the boundaries for block
156
placement.
block limit.
So I am definitely going to include being able to fly in between different dimensions just by going up far enough.
Believe there is. I'm not sure if you can fix this, but I remember there's a certain area where entities are stopped being rendered once you pass 200 and something.
I think maybe instead of it being like an absolute position, uh, an absolute position to stop rendering, that it's simply a distance away from another entity. So I'm pretty sure as long as you're sufficiently far from another entity, you'll just not be rendered on, that entity won't be able to see you, whether or not it's a player or something with AI. I honestly think that's like 80 blocks. Um, but the limit for flying out of the atmosphere will probably be significantly higher than that. Uh, if you're flying a TIE fighter, well, you have to dock with an Imperial Star Destroyer to jump to hyperspace. Probably. TIE fighters, as you obviously know, weren't equipped with
Hyperdrive.
hyperdrives. Well, the old ones were, at least the ones in the original trilogy.
The
Yeah.
sequel trilogy ships ties they seem to be equipped with one.
Yeah, I know Kylo Ren's was equipped with a hyperdrive. I feel like I remembered seeing in Rise of Skywalker somebody jump into just a normal TIE and then jump to hyperspace. So it's probably going to be dependent on which TIE you're in.
I mean, there were definitely models that were modified with hyperdrives. So I
Yeah.
mean, it would depend on your ship, of course.
Yeah, it'll probably actually be down to a player decision. You'll probably have a tie, and as part of the ship customization and modification system, you'll probably just be able to install a hyperdrive if that's something that you'd be wanting to do. If you want to have to dock with a Star Destroyer for that real true immersion, that'll be your prerogative. You can choose to not install a hyperdrive in your ship.
Going back, real quick, going back to my two questions. They might have been answered. I'm doing something, so I'm sorry if they were. Let me find them. How should the connected textures work? How would those work? You want me to make like three or like one texture for each block, and then they go together, or?
So I sent a template zip in the dev chat, but essentially, the way that other mods have done it in the past, and probably the way that I'll end up doing it, just because that code exists already without me having to write it again, is that there is one texture for every possible combination of connections, and so you essentially make one like master texture, and then there's like a border layer on top of it, and basically the best way to go and make those textures is just delete the border on one side and maybe do some manual blending to make it look nicer.
Right. Okay. How I'm currently doing it is I am making one 48 by 48 texture, so like 3 standard or 9 standard textures, sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm making it work like that, and then if it were to only be like, let's say 16 by 16, it would cut off part of it, and then it would look different, right? Like, am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah. Doing the 9x9 texture like that actually should end up working out just fine. I'm pretty sure that covers all of the. Trying to think. That covers all of the connection cases except for one where it's not connected to anything.
Okay.
So you'll have to do that 9 plus 1, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. That sounds not too bad. So thank
Yeah.
you.
And so
Just to chip back in,
yeah.
I believe there is no limit to entities. I'm testing it now. So
Entities
yeah,
rendering or
sounds
entities
like
just
that's
like
good.
moving?
Like entities rendering above 256.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember
You
that
will
used to
you
be a
will
thing.
always continue to render as long as you are sufficiently well, you will always be able to be seen as long as whatever is seeing you is sufficiently close to you. I don't think it has any dependency on your like physical location within the world. Uh, will we be able to join the Inquisitors or is some special forces squad within the Empire, or will we have to play as grunts? Uh, there's a good chance that you'll be able to be that you'll have the choice to join, like Inferno Squad or something of that regard. As well in the Empire as with the Rebels. And so obviously that'll come down to story building decisions. Uh, but a system like that definitely should be possible as far as factions go.
Andrew has been asking if there will be any Clone Wars content and Clone Wars storylines.
I'd definitely like to include Clone Wars stuff. I don't see why it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Going back to one of my other questions, what do you think about a config option for Minecrafty models? I know you aren't a fan of that style, from what I gathered, you weren't.
A config option to like switch between like two different
so,
sets of
have
models.
the high poly, smooth, nice looking ship models and lightsaber models versus some more like blocky versions of lightsaber ships.
Ooh, this is not what I wanted to do. I mean, I'd be completely open to including two different sets of models if somebody was willing to make two different sets of models. I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Okay. And then I guess going off of that question as well, and this will probably be my last one for a while. You've said that block benches has quite a few limitations, which I've seen while modeling with it. For the more Minecrafty models, would they be able to be block bench JSON models, or would that cause problems with them not being the same format?
As long as you can export them as an OBJ, which I'm pretty sure Blockbench lets you do, I can convert it to the mods format. So if you'd like to make them in Blockbench for the models that are the closer to Minecraft feel, please go right ahead. It should work out just fine. I think I ended up converting a lot of Blockbench models to this new model format before I ended up scrapping those models entirely.
Okay. Thank you.
Is the mod being designed to handle community content packs like Flance mod, where you could add your own planes? I am definitely going to design this with content packs in mind. I would like to make it where people can add their own data packs and resource packs to add content without having to need modding knowledge. This should be I don't know if Mama Bell's still in here or if some of her admins are in here, but this should be really beneficial for things like using this in like a classroom environment or using this in an RP Let's Play or something. That if there was content,
or even exploring different eras, like someone could make a sequel trilogy submod or Clone Wars or Old Republic. Like anything is possible as long as the base mod function is there.
Yeah, so I would like to force myself to implement that first before I start implementing a bunch of blocks and items, so that it basically puts the pressure on me to make sure that system works well and is tested and is trusted for adding mod content through the data pack and resource pack system, because I know that if I have to use it, it's gonna get implemented well. So then it should make it really fluent for people who want to add their own content to the mod to simply go into a data pack, add some models, add some, data configs about how different blocks should interact or how different guns should work or something like that. and then they should be able to play with it without ever having to touch Java or anything like that. That should also be good for if people wanted to make a data pack that removed content from the mod. Uh, it should be easy enough to just make a data pack that gets rid of something if there was any content in the mod that you wished wasn't there and there wasn't explicitly a config option to change its functionality. Will Old Republic content be added, such as Havoc Squad armor or Lightsaber blaster designs from Star Wars: The Old Republic? I'd love to include Old Republic content. I loved.
Personally, it's my favorite.
Yeah, I really liked KOTOR. Um, I'm a big fan of Old Republic stuff. So if I definitely like to include it, not just if we have the time, but I like to add that to some of my official, roadmaps. Uh, because I feel like Old Republic content is definitely something that a lot of people would be interested in. It's definitely something that would interest me. Um, and so I am definitely excited to add some Old Republic content in.
Are you guys a stream through Discord? Just so Send can help me with some extra stuff.
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Oh, what? Do you need me?
Yeah, I'll DM you.
Okay.
I'll actually go to the bathroom. So I will leave this up if anybody else has any questions that
The rest of us devs can.
Yeah, y'all
talk
can
a
answer.
bit.
Y'all are devs.
Yeah.
Okay, so Send, I am working on the Imperial door right now, and it's very flat, and I need your help figuring out how to make it not so flat. I tried adding shading and like these weird things, but it looks weird.
Sorry, I got disconnected.
Oh, no worries. Like,
Oh, nice texture.
thank you. I just feel like it's too flat, you know?
Maybe. I don't know. Does that fit the style?
I mean, not really, because it's so flat. I got a couple ideas, but looking at the actual picture of it, I'm not entirely sure how I should go about doing this. So if you have any suggestions, please.
Which picture are you using as reference?
I'll put it in collab.
Oh, I see.
You can tell even they didn't really know what they wanted to do for the texture. It's very noisy.
Yeah.
I don't really want to just add noise. I feel like that might be a little bit.
I would say focus more on like the main shapes. I don't know. Maybe you can do like a bit of like really light noise and shading, like where the different bevels meet. You know how there's a shadow when some of the stuff is embossed and some of it is like it looks to be like grills or something.
Okay. And for this texture, it's just like the actual middle square bit, right? Or is it the whole thing?
Which I was
Like-
just when I was thinking walls, I meant like the little like trapezoidal thing that's mixed in with like a bit of like
Okay.
the meshing.
Mhm.
Not the thing in the middle. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but I think that's a door.
I think. Okay, wait. Here, give me 1 second. So, are you still watching the stream, or my stream?
Yeah.
All right. So there's this part, right? And then there's like this surrounding bit. Which
Yeah.
one am I going for? I assume just a circle area. Isn't that
Let me. I don't actually have a mic, so I'm like between two devices, and if I join your stream, I can't talk.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay,
gonna
I'll
use
send
an
you a
alt.
screenshot. I'll send a screenshot in Cloud.
Yeah. No, the stuff around it, because that middle part is a door.
Okay. This is for the door though, isn't it? The texture.
No, this is a wall.
Well, okay.
Which
We need the door
normals
bit
are
too,
y'all
though.
working on?
The Imperial door.
We're just like
texture.
basic imperial beveled walls.
Okay.
Do we need
Wait,
the
yeah.
door
So
as
like,
well?
no, the door should. It's probably gonna be a separate thing. But
Okay. Shoot.
my alt is not.
Okay. send a screenshot of what I've done so far.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I did the wrong thing. This is like the circle area.
Yeah, you did the door.
Okay.
That's fine.
Will we
I mean,
need it
we
for
can use
anything?
it for-
I should have saved it.
You can use it for something else, but I mean, it looks nice.
Alright, I'll save that.
I get the link.
And then how big should the beveled area be? The beveled walls area. I was thinking like 4x4. But that might be too small.
I don't know. Hold on. Let me snipping tool.
Hey Karen, I don't know if you're watching stream or not. But I saw the pictures you posted in chat. I'd like to see some more pictures if you've got any more.
Okay, Coda and Colab.
Okay.
Like each of these, I think, should be like
Whoa.
a sort of
Yeah, okay.
block or something. So like, if you can see like on the right hand side, when you're looking at the screen, like it would connect that way vertically if you just kept placing them. I don't know what a single one would look like, but
Ooh, okay, I got an idea.
that's the kind of thing I think we want to go for.
So, okay. I think I got this. Thank you.
You can probably simplify it a lot more, but
Yeah. This helps with the main idea, so thank you.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, currently I'm trying to see if I can get texture applied to the if I can get the old texture applied to the X-Wing model. Because if I can get this model loaded, I'm gonna go ahead and add a ship. Because I haven't.
My texture?
No, the. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, your texture.
Do you want mine? I mean, like it needs a lot of work, but we can
yeah,
certainly use it.
I just want to get any texture applied to it. It really
Do you
doesn't
want me
matter.
to
So
DM it to you, or should I just?
I'm just gonna use the one that I have.
I can put them in my drive. 'Cause I'm gonna upload
Have
them.
you made a more recent texture than this one? That you'll see in like 10 seconds.
No, I don't have. That's the Red 5 one. I mean, it works, but it's kind of messy.
Yeah.
And then there's the
honestly the only
default
thing
one,
wrong
too.
with it is all these panel lines. Everything else about
Yeah.
it's fine, honestly.
yeah.
But I'm having just the trickiest time getting this thing to load. Alright, model X-Wing T65B. Model X-Wing T65B. What seems to be the problem? Ah yes, panel boy. Man, it's really annoying.
No.
What?
Oh.
Okay, I've stuck some stuff in the drive.
Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Alright, time to leak all of my personal information by going to Google Drive on stream.
Clips now.
Yeah, take clips, everybody. Take clips. You'll never see it again. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, and ships.
Yeah. I think this is this is whoops. Is there like not a zoom in feature? No. Is there like not a zoom in feature on Drive? That's really annoying. Oh well. Yeah. that's the one I have. So we just work with that one.
Yeah, okay.
modify
Yeah, for
that
now,
one.
until I make a better one.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
print
could
screen
actually
everybody.
do that now. Ooh, that looks pretty good, Coda.
Thank you. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really have any patterns. So
That's all of us.
hopefully it looks good.
I mean, as long as it looks good when it tiles and connects or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's all that's really needs to be done.
Yeah.
Keep playing and tweaking it.
I can stream some X-Wing stuff. Oh, beautiful.
I swear this worked last time I wanted to do it. It works for Crate Octagon. Why doesn't it work for X-Wing T65B? What's the deal? Whoops, nope, don't want to run. Want to debug. So I mean, I'm giving it the resource identifier. I'm giving it the texture name. It's troubling that this is where that's popping up. I don't know why it. Oh, you know what? It's probably because of this instance. Thanks, Luke. Alright, let's try. This shouldn't work. If it does work, I'm ending stream. Okay, good. So let's synchronize. How did I learn Java? That's actually an interesting question. So I had never once touched Java before starting modding. So in like late 2014, I got the grand idea that I was gonna make a Minecraft 1.7.10 mod. And my only programming experience going into it was oh, Curly, you're good. I see your message in general. Yeah, so I'd gone into making the previous PSWM with next to no programming experience other than some basic web design, which doesn't count as programming, and a little bit of C# here and there. So I pretty much learned programming on the fly. The most amount of programming I ever learned, like in one contiguous session, was the first time I ever started working on the mod was during a live stream. I had live streamed developing like the first iteration of what would eventually become Party Star Wars mod. It ended up being a live stream of a couple really awesome guys from Minecraft forums teaching me how to do Java, teaching me basic package organization, teaching me Forge Gradle, mod build scripts, stuff like that, how textures work. It was probably one of the most informative things I could have done was to live stream, and then perhaps out of fear or anguish, people in chat just started telling me how what I was doing was wrong and how I should be doing it. And so being told that I was doing something completely wrong and that I didn't know what I was doing was a fantastic learning experience for actually learning the correct way to do something. And so, where did I learn to program? Right here in Twitch, I guess. Well, where did I learn Java? Right here in Twitch. I've learned a number of other programming fundamentals outside of Twitch, but the gist is there, I guess. Carson says, "Oh wow, the LucasArts company is following the Gary Mod X-Wing." Is that Luke? Is that an inside joke? What's going on with
my username. He's making a joke about my username.
Okay. I just didn't know how the Gary's Mod the Gary's Mod X-Wing fit into it.
Uh, it's the next wing. My username is very obvious what it's emulating.
Right, right.
Uh, I actually changed my profile picture recently.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, to
I've
that
got
one. Yeah, I've seen that one. I really enjoy.
yes.
I do very fundamentally enjoy that profile picture. There we go. This is why textures weren't working. I made a green apple mod and started working on Lightsaber mod. Tried to learn. I know a bit about programming logic from other languages and robotics, but Java is a tough one. So I definitely can say that some of my programming fundamentals came from some high school robotics classes where we did. Hey, here we go. Here's our fine texture. A fair amount of my programming fundamentals came from using Lego
Yay.
NXT in like a high school robotics class. And so
What?
So what? Yeah, uh it's rain weather clear. So yeah, a lot of my I can definitely attribute some of my programming background to to in class Lego robotics in high school.
Lego robotics. That's brings back some old memories.
Oh yeah. We actually had a first Lego League competitive robotics team at our high school that I was on. Well, actually, that was during middle school even. So actually, at our middle school that I was on, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that. Carson says, "Yeah, that's some really obvious panel lighting." Yeah, it is. Sinned.
It's a
I'm fixing it right now.
You're good. That's cool. Does it fly? I wish it flew. As of right now, it's currently a block. So I guess you could
just a block model as of right now.
Yeah, stack your X-wings and have them too.
Second.
If Skyrim has a flying
Just a
X-wing
block.
mod, then Minecraft surely can too. I've definitely made this fly. There's an alpha out right now. You know what? We're playing some Minecraft. There's an alpha out.
That should be an Easter egg ship now.
Yeah, the X-wing block. Oh, password. I am certain that my password's not incorrect.
Ooh.
I'm about to get locked out of my account. There we go. Yeah, passwords. Clip it. I. What on earth was I saying? Oh yeah,
Thing
but
about-
yeah. There's an alpha that's out right now in the Discord that the X-wings are definitely flyable. So used to teach Lego robotics, brings back some memories. Started masters in control systems, and Lego started me on that path. It definitely was the beginning of the end for for my engineering life. It really turned me into hardcore wanting to work with just engineering in general. Uh, so I progressed from being on an FLL team to in high school. My best friend and I started a FTC competitive robotics team, First Tech Challenge. Go Voyagers! If anybody's tuning in that was here in the southeast. Uh, and so I just started my undergraduate for computer science. That and model rocketry. I adore model rocketry. Uh, so yeah, I just started my undergraduate for computer science, and I'm gonna end up minoring in computer engineering. Uh, so I'm definitely glad that I was introduced to Lego robotics, that number of years ago. Now
Yeah,
this
Lego Robotics really were as a gateway. Um, it did get me into engineering some, yeah, and like circuitry and so on. Ooh.
I know for a fact one of these multi-MC instances has not only the mod installed, but has ray trace shaders installed too. How the force power system work in galaxies? That's an excellent question. One that I have not gotten around to figuring out the answer to yet. I would love it to be a nonlinear, like tree-based system, kind of like how Fallen Order does it. But I feel like that system is really cheap and doesn't really give a lot of immersion. Why is my why is this so big? Uh,
Would you be just chip in? What do you think about the Knights of the Old Republic core system or the Jedi
uh,
Outcast?
so this is very incorrect. Apparently, the last time I played this instance was when PSWM was being worked on. So I really enjoyed the Jedi Outcast system. Uh, I've actually been using the Jedi Outcast IGN walkthroughs as like a basis of how force power should work. Uh, Maybe not how the force leveling system will work, but there are definitely a lot of
Powers
force
themselves.
powers. Yeah, definitely a lot of powers that those games had that I would like to uh, add. Can the streamer turn himself up? I would love to turn myself up. I could definitely make it louder. Uh, so I will do that. But as for it only coming out of one ear, uh, I am. I learned that that was an issue uh, in the first about 5 minutes of actually starting to stream. So as of right now, there's nothing really I can do about it too much. Uh, there we go. I guess turned it up a little. There's nothing too much I can do about it, but I'm definitely gonna try to fix that before next stream.
The Discord works fine with it, so if you
Yeah,
care, you
this
can join
the
the Discord.
Discord's
You
good.
will. You just can't talk.
Build a hangar for the X-wing blocks to live in. I would love to build a hangar to put the X-wing blocks in, but as of right now, my biggest focus is is going to be turning the X-wing blocks into X-wing entities. Yeah, Jedi Outcast was a very very challenging game. Yeah, the screen's like just the size enough that I need to have it on large instead of medium. Uh, just finished Star Wars Rebels last night. Really enjoyed it. I have not actually watched Rebels. The animation style is like really off-putting to me, and so I
Yes,
just feel like I
the
wouldn't enjoy watching it.
early Rebel seasons had some pretty weird animation styles. Later on, it did get better. Later on, it did get better.
The astute amongst you may notice that I do not, in fact, have a GeForce graphics card, but have a Quadro graphics card. So got gamers. I know I've got those. Here we go. Oh god, it's 1.12, of course. So that means one of these should work. Which one of these has? Okay. All right. This should be it. One of these has the mod, and Optifine. So this is such a long way to go to try to make the joke that yeah, there was a version of the mod that had flyable X-wings already. It's just that right now it's regressed back into a block. But now I'm just really itching to play with where's Optifine? Now I just really want to try out those shaders again because they're really nice. We'll try this one. I too have a Quadro. Yes, Quadro gang. Quadros are the best graphics card. If man, ooh, I forgot.
They're the only graphics card?
Uh, they are, in my opinion, the best. Unfortunately, they are not the only graphics card. People seem hell bent on buying, whatever gamerware people put out there, but Quadro cards are just they're cheaper, they're better, they have way better enterprise support if you're doing enterprise stuff. Thank you, Dygod DK, for following. They're way better at doing anything ray tracing. I do a lot of work with. Thank you, Carson, for following. I do a lot of remote desktop work on this computer too, especially for working on the mod. If I'm away from my desktop, so it's pretty crucial that I have a graphics card that works with remote desktop. Well, mine's a laptop from 2013. Well, there's also that. They also
yes,
they also
same.
made Quadro Mobile. Quadro Mobile is still pretty good, but at least in terms of the desktop cards, they're a lot more suited towards getting things done with remote desktop. So that was definitely my use case for wanting to buy one of those over like a new RTX card or something. Will there be Jedi and Sith armor, and will it protect you and give you buffs? As far as I know, the Jedi and Sith did not wear armor. So if I'm being pedantic, I'm going to say no, there's not. But to really give you the answer to your question that you're looking for, there will be attire that you can wear as a Jedi or a Sith that will bring you benefits that Force insensitives will not be able to get. So I have the mod installed, right? Did I really turn it off? Swell. Time to go download my own mod. What's the
We've
most
all
recent
been there.
alpha? Yeah, here it is. Everybody, please go visit my site. I need ad revenue. I'm struggling. Google doesn't let me show ads on this download page right now. It says that I don't have enough content on this page, and so therefore it is not eligible to receive ads. So currently the only ads on my site that are actually bringing me ad revenue and somewhat, I guess, going back towards keeping the website running is the ones on my blog. And nobody reads my blog because there's nothing on it. So until I start adding more content to that download page, then it will not be able to be monetized, which was a big bummer. And I hated reading that email, but alas.
Yes, that's one of the things that having to deal with is getting that revenue for what you've done. I personally have tried to use AdFly. I despise it, but the only good way.
Yeah, I used AdFly for a while for PSWM, but I did not end up. I don't know. I just didn't like it. It felt scummy, and so I
Yeah,
hated other mods that did it,
turned
and I was
off.
like, yeah, I hated other mods that did it, and I was like, I don't want to be that mod, and so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put ads on the page, and if people are nice, they'll click the ad, but there's really not too much I can do about it.
I have it turned off to where it's not gonna block you if you have uh what's it called? Whoever stops the ads. Ad
There we
block.
go.
Why can't I think of two words?
Will well-known characters appear as NPCs to give you missions or something? Honestly, I don't know because I'd love to include well-known characters who will tell you to go do things, but in terms of uh, I don't know. It just seems like it'd be really out of place in terms of all the people that you'd be interacting with, like on a day-to-day basis, uh, and the the kind of content that you'd be receiving from them. I just feel like all the people that you see on screen have advanced so far in their career that they're like rebellion or imperial career that it'd be a long time before you talk directly to them to do something. And so if you did end up meeting them, it'd be probably pretty late in the game, or it'd be a cameo or something like that. Uh, did you know Fractal Sponge has a Discord now? I don't know what that is. Just have someone be demoted. That's true. I'd also love to have cameos, but I also think it would be there's always so much information you can put in a Minecraft skin, and so to try to convince somebody that you're talking to Luke Skywalker when his face is 16 pixels wide, uh, isn't that great. The Jedi didn't wear armor unless it was times of intense war, but the Sith wore armor. Yeah, I know they all wore armor. Uh, so that's true. It's the guy behind this. Stagers clicking links. Is that in Minecraft or is that just a 3D model? It's a very nice ship, 3D model. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. It's very nice. I'd love to be able to do something like that in Minecraft, but obviously you can't. So
Limit.
yeah. So this was the flight system that was in the mod in 1.12 in the most recent alpha. It's roll centric, so you use the mouse to roll around, and I guess go well with shaders on. The world loads really slow, so I'll slow it down. But it's roll centric, so you roll with the mouse and you pitch over like you're in a fighter jet, which is how a lot of them flew in the movies, albeit with a joystick. Man, shaders is just killing this. Let's turn them off. And so this was the system that I had in mind for implementing on the newer versions. Whether or not it will default to be keyboard controlled or mouse controlled really has yet to be decided. I'd like to make it as close to Battlefront as possible because people seem to really like Battlefront. So, will certain ships have a unique power like Star Destroyer uh, shooting turbo lasers? Um, Ships on that scale probably won't have special powers that you'd be able to control. Um, Ships that are small snub fighters like the X-wing or the A-wing or TIE fighters, stuff like that, will definitely have the unique abilities that were associated with that ship, in canon or in Legends. So X-wings will have proton torpedoes, TIE bombers will have bombs, Y-wings will have bombs, A-wings will just have guns, and so in terms of special abilities for ships, it's going to be tied pretty closely to whatever they had originally in canon. So this is the other control mode where left and right just drags your ship left and right like in Battlefront, and up and down is up and down. This leads to the very interesting problem that Battlefront hides pretty nicely. That if you're at a very steep angle and you slide to the side, that your ship has now gained a roll of whatever your pitch was. Uh, Battlefront hides that by transitioning you back to a zero roll over a period of time. I've tried to emulate that here. It doesn't work too well. Uh, it has the very cumbersome bug that if you spin just right, that you like spin way too much trying to go back to zero. But you can also fly upside down, and it'll flip you back the right way. Uh, so flying in an orientation that ships could not do in the previous mod is uh, definitely something that I'm excited to bring to new versions. Uh, are Arc 170s planned? Yes, I'd love to have an Arc 170. Star Destroyers are definitely going to be made of blocks. Something of that scale would just be wholly impractical to have as one, physical unit within the game. Uh, so building that out of blocks is probably the most practical way to combine not only functionality, but also just the practical aspect of you being able to sit on it or stand on it or however you want to interact with it. Uh, of course, that drastically limits its ability to move. Uh, it would be able to move only by changing the quote unquote perspective of like the skybox for the space dimension that you're in or something like that, which I feel for the amount of moving that a typical Star Destroyer would need to do in the mod would be perfectly sufficient. There would be the notable exceptions of things like uh, the Star Destroyer that was on Jeddah, the Holy City that was the vessel for extracting all of the Kyber. So things like that will definitely be modeled in world and would most likely not have the ability to move at all. So they'd just be stationary in a fun uh, visual or quest location, I guess. Arcs are hot. Arcs are hot. You're right. All right. It's enough fun for one day. Back to getting it to work in 1.15, which has proved to be notably more challenging than it seemingly used to be.
About that, how is updating to 1.15?
So I have quite enjoyed 1.15. Um, I've been using exclusively Fabric for 1.15. I wanted to use Forge, but Forge basically told me to screw off when trying to update to 1.15 because I had some specific model loading functionality that they said I would just have to wait for them to add back into the game, even though it's something that Minecraft did natively. And so they told me that they had no idea when that pull request was going to be accepted, and to not get my hopes up that it would be soon. So I said, screw it, I'm going to Fabric. And so I did go to Fabric and completely implemented that model loading system. So other than that, it's been really nice. 1.15 with Fabric allows me to work a lot more, a lot closer to the game in terms of code, that I'm not having to work through a bunch of Forge stuff. So as long as the base game doesn't change a whole lot, I don't have to worry about Forge, pulling the rug out from underneath me when it comes to how I've implemented something. I was late. Will the flight work like this, or is it a function of the editor? What do you mean? What you just saw in game was uh, how I would like flight to work in game typically. That what I was just playing was actually the most recent alpha that you can go and download from the Discord or from my website. It's not on CurseForge as of right now. Uh, but that is definitely something that you can go check out right now if you want to. And so yes, that's how it works in the most recent alpha, and that's how I plan on having it work in the 1.15 release. What about saber tanks? I'm not aware of. I don't know what saber tanks are. Could you please elaborate?
You don't know what a saber tank is? Let me pull up a picture for you.
Yeah. Will the mod use RF as a power unit? Uh, I have no idea, honestly. I don't even know what kind of machines the mod would have that would require RF. So, if we have machines, then yeah, it'll use RF. But otherwise, I don't know. No, this is dead meme. Will there be an Order 66 quest? No, because it has already happened. Oh, the one from Battlefront. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Let's take a look. Take a little look. See. Oh, these guys. Oh yeah, I'd love to have these. These are really cool. Are they in the newest Battlefront? What era is this?
They are. They are from Battlefront. They are
Yeah.
in Battlefront 2 as well.
Battlefront DLC. Do I not have this DLC? Huh. Yeah, I'd like to include them. Dice is the only reason the tank is canon again. There was a toy that Kenner made in like 1985, called the like Stormtrooper Troop Transport, that was never canon until here we go. The Imperial Troop Transport. This wasn't came out in 1979. This was never canon. Kenner just made it to make it. That's an awful picture. Kenner just thought it would be a fun toy to make and for people to play with, but it was never in a movie. It was never a canon thing that was in a comics, or that was in any of the comics. However, this was very recently brought aggressively into the canon in The Mandalorian. If you haven't seen The Mandalorian, it sucks. You're about to see a screenshot from it. Come on. Here we go. So this is a screenshot from The Mandalorian. They brought. I'm pretty sure it wasn't in Rebels before it was in Mandalorian. Not this specific one, anyway. It could have been. All right. Where are the TV appearances? Okay, you're right. It was in Rebels. But this went for a number of years. Oh yeah, Ezra first appearance. So but still, this went for a number of years, just being a dinky little toy, before being no Star Wars stuff. Yeah, that's true.
Yes, that thing.
Before being ripped back into the
That was in
canon.
Rebels.
This isn't Rebels either. What is this? Is this Clone? That's not Clone Wars. What is this? More info. Oh yeah, this is Rebels.
Behind for me.
Yeah. So that doesn't look a whole lot like this one. I feel like they're different because this has the gun on top and no guns up here, and this one's really wide with no gun on top. So I think the general concept has been in Star Wars since Rebels, but I think this specific one that Kenner had as a toy wasn't finally pulled back into canon until that. Rebels is heavily stylized. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I enjoyed the Clone Wars stylization. Rebels just I don't know. It's like too the shading is just too weird on the people's faces.
And especially the new show they made, the Rise of Resistance or whatever. That one was even more stylized, and I did not like it.
Yeah, I think that's specifically what I'm thinking of. Because I think Rebels, I think Rebels was fine, but I think
It
Rise of
was
the
closer to Star
Resistance,
Wars,
yeah,
Clone Wars.
I'm pretty sure Rise of the Resistance. No, what's it called? What's the newest new TV show? Is it just
Ended
Resistance?
after like 2 seasons, I think. Resistance.
Here we go. This is specifically the one that I'm thinking of. This is just an awful visual style. This was a direction that nobody in an art department should have taken for an animated TV series. It's like a step backwards in terms of like 3D modeling.
The ships were interesting, but everything else was lacking.
Yeah. Yeah. Rebels, I was every time I was saying Rebels, I was thinking of Resistance. Rebels was fine. I've been meaning to watch Rebels. I haven't started yet. Because this looks like a slightly rounder version of the Clone Wars style. And I really liked Clone Wars. Will the ATTE be added? Which one's the ATTE? Oh, this one. Uh, that's like right on the border between too small to build out of blocks, but too big to make out of a like single unit thing. So if I do end up adding this, which I'd like to because I like them, I don't know. They're really big. I guess size varies. That's not real. It'd probably end up being a single person thing. As much as I don't like that. Yeah, in Rebels they did make the ISD bridge strangely tall. I tried to find a picture of it, but honestly, it's
Anakin 003. That's again if there'll be Old Republic content.
yes. If not from me, from one of your fellow peers, or possibly even from you.
From Parsi, I might make it.
Yeah. Whoops. Oh, okay. I thought I'd heard of you before. Yeah, I've seen the stuff that y'all have done on the KOTOR pack. I really like it. Y'all are doing a great job.
Yeah, we recently opened up a Discord for it because it's like a back on, and that's people involved in it. I'm trying to just close the stream on accident. Textures just from the beginning when I started doing it that I hate now.
There was something that I was gonna do with this model, but I don't specifically remember exactly what it was. Sid, I think these panel lines are gonna be just as heavy.
Uh, it looks okay in Blender actually.
Does it?
Yeah,
Guess we'll see.
it's still paneled, but it's not black.
All right. Let's take a look. See.
And if not, I can just remove them completely. It's pretty rough though.
Where am I going? Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. Let's try this. I find it funny how people, Wackanole says, I find it funny how people make so much lore about things added to Star Wars, added to the movies for non-Star Wars reasons. Like good old Sammy's purple lightsaber. He just wanted to see himself on screen better, but they made a whole thing about the type of Jedi who balances the light dark side. Yeah, that's an argument that I frequently run into with people is that if they're arguing about, why something exists or the Gray Jedi and stuff like that. They're like, oh, but Samuel L. Jackson had a purple lightsaber because he felt, oh my God, I forgot that I made this huge stack of these freaking things. That they're like, Samuel L. Jackson, his character was this, this, and this, and so that's why he had that color lightsaber. No, he had that color lightsaber because he said, I like purple. Can I have purple? And they said yes. And so now we've spawned a whole fan base around something that shouldn't be a thing.
It's kind of the way of a large portion of Star Wars lore is banding upon some little details.
Yeah. Carolina asked if we can get fighters with multiple passengers, like a tail gunner for the Ark, or maybe passengers for the LAT. I'd love to be able to fly with friends. Yes, that was actually something that was added natively in Minecraft in 1.12 for boats. And so while there wasn't ever anything in the 1.12 alpha that you could scoot around with people in a ship, whatever ships get released, if there was a potential for them to have multiple passengers, you will definitely be able to fly with your friends, and that is something that I am looking forward to as well.
Is it still too dark?
Can you see him? It's pretty dark.
The stream just caught up for me.
Yeah, it's
been behind by about a minute.
Yeah, that sounds typical. It's pretty dark.
Yeah, I think it's better than the black.
Yeah,
okay.
it's better than the black.
Yeah.
What if you just let's
they
take
just need the color. The colors back on it.
What would happen if you just got rid of those lines and just
All
had
of
them?
the lines?
Yeah, well, or just had them be like seriously like three shades darker or something. But like, because if you look at it from far away, it looks like it's like quilted.
I don't know if I really get what you mean, but
like it's like patchwork.
okay. I'll try just removing all the lines, I guess.
Yeah. Well, try. What color are they right now? What's their like hex code?
The lines?
Yeah, they're like probably like medium gray, right? I guess not hex code, but like just make them
808080.
Okay, so they're exactly medium gray. Make them like make them like
Making them
like DO, or try something like that. Something that's just like way lighter because in Blender the lighting is way brighter than it is in Minecraft, and so stuff darkens up a lot. Regarding the dark saber and that one specific double-bladed lightsaber, the dark saber is very cool in its own right. I don't think it should be classified as a lightsaber. I do very much like double-bladed lightsabers, so I think that they're both fantastic in their own right. Will you be able to create your own faction and start wars with others? I don't know. I don't know if that is something that is within the scope of a strictly Minecraft mod. If there's another mod out there that lets you...
You could definitely probably do that in a more like RP related setting, but I'm not sure about single player.
Yeah, if there was definitely not in single player, but if there are like bucket plugins or mods that allow you to create and join factions and wage war against other other neighboring factions, I'd definitely like to work with them. That's something that I would like to include the mod, but I don't know if that's something that's and this sounds really blunt, but I don't like putting it this way, but I don't know if that's something that's like worth my time implementing, because there are far less taxing features to try to implement that would benefit both single player and multiplayer over something that would honestly require a huge server to probably get a lot of benefit out of. Stream lag might be a default setting in Streamlabs to prevent stream sniping. I know it has that option. Uh, that's possible. Let's see if there are settings regarding this.
Is it mainly just too dark on the whole thing, or is it just like the fuselage?
Just specifically just the lines on the fuselage. Like the fuselage itself is a great color, but it's just
All right.
yeah, it's just the panel lines. Armor customization. Um, I don't. What would there be to customize? I mean, I know you could customize. Like can it do more? Can it absorb more damage and stuff like that? But I don't know how you'd go about upgrading that or making your armor better. Download the alpha version and test the flight, but it only works in first person, right? When I try to put it in third, the entire map disappears. You might have to start moving around again. I know there are some issues in 1.12 with chunk culling and how it decided to when it decided to render chunks. And so when you go into third person and your view gets detached from your player, it kind of freaks out. So I think once you start moving around, it should reload all the chunks again. At least it does for me. The 1.15 won't have that issue, so I don't precisely know how to fix that in 1.12. Uh, Armor customization, like Legion colors. Um, I think there's going to be enough armor variation on just by default that you could find a combination that suited you. Uh, for things like ships and weapons and things like that, I'd like to make a skin system kind of similar to how Minecraft does skins. You could draw your own thing and upload it to a place, and everybody would be able to see what you've made, not just other people, with the same resource pack or something like that. Uh, so probably not at the armor level, but that level of customization will probably be available for maybe like skins and things. Will you be able to customize your lightsaber? I assume you're talking about like how Advanced Lightsabers does it. Uh, yes, to an extent. It's probably going to be similar to how Fallen Order did their lightsaber customization. Although you'll definitely be able to pick out different models for how lightsabers work. Customization is cool and all, but have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? No.
have a question about how blasters are currently going to be worked on.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking of a sort of customization system or like optimization system, sort of similar to like how Knights Republic might handle it?
Uh,
Components.
Remind me again how Old Republic handled it.
It had a workbench where you could put certain components on, so the stats of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a way that I would like blasters to be customized. What did you think of
So
Fallen?
this is
Hmm?
sorry. This is really whip and it looks kind of bad, but like, is the coloring better?
Let's take a look, see.
I will clean it up, but just for the grid color.
All right, we'll check this out and see what it says. It looks like it might be good. We'll see. Uh, I thought not. It's not a story. Jedi would tell you it's a Sith legend. Darth plagued with the Darth Lord of the Sith. So powerful and wise, he could use the Force to influence the midichlorians to create life. He had such a knowledge of the dark side, he could even keep the loved ones he cared from dying. Is it possible to learn this power? Thank you, NZ25. Uh, anyway, regardless of third person or not, you can understand the mechanics of flight in the first person too. The fact that there is a flight model to simulate landing is very, very incredible. If this really is what will be delivered, can't wait to use the next versions. Yes, there will not be ships if ships can't be implemented like that. So my number one priority is making sure that ships work that way, but more fluid, hopefully, and not as janky as it is currently. What did you think of Fallen Order? I have not finished Fallen Order. Um, I'm probably 65 or 70% of the way through it. Uh, Between juggling classes and working on the mod and other extracurriculars, I haven't had a whole lot of time to play it. Thank you, Bill Sonora. I am hoping I'm not butchering your name. Uh, blue blue blaster bolts. Yeah, blaster bolts will be whatever the hell color you want them to be. Um, well, more specifically, it's going to depend on what gun you're shooting. So blaster bolts will actually be the correct color for whatever gun they're coming from. So green ones from
Shoots
hmm?
blue.
Yeah, blue, green, red.
Doesn't it depend on
Do you
like
remember there was
in canon? Doesn't it like depend on what type of tip and a gas canister you're using or something?
I
Pretty
do
sure.
remember in there was some lore behind the blaster bolt colors where green was in the Empire had green because it was some cheap version.
Uh,
It was the more commonly like used higher like, medium quality.
was that the
And the
lore
blue is because
before
it's
or
bomb.
after the prequel trilogy existed?
This was after the prequel trilogy, but before Disney acquisition and sequels. And
Because I always assumed that the Empire used green because the Republic used green. That was just the way that they did it. Uh, oh yeah, but to answer your question, blue
But I
blaster
know
bolts, yes.
the blue was because it was ion-based weapons would be blue.
Uh,
Apparently,
ion
red is
weapons.
the cheapest gas.
Okay.
Okay.
I definitely know that ion-based weapons were blue, like the ionization blaster and the stun modes on rifles. But I also know of a couple of canon blasters that just were blue. Like Ezra's lightsaber could shoot blasters, and I know for a fact those are blue. So
Remember, those were just stun though.
yeah, that's true. Uh, yeah, so maybe it really just is ionization stuff that's blue. But it'll come down to it'll depend on what the weapon's primary function was. Uh, Living jokes aside, do you have any plans on adding anything for the Eternal Empire? Really like those dudes, and the Eternal Empire Valkorion is one of my favorite characters. Oh, Eternal Emperor Valkorion. I don't have any like specific plans right now to add anything from the Eternal Empire. I really enjoy Eternal Empire content, so I'd be really grateful if somebody made a content pack for that. But I definitely won't be specifically avoiding it if I come across something that I have to have. I want to know why Mando guns are yellow. That's a fantastic question, one that I do not have the answer to.
Also know there's orange blaster bolts somewhere out there, but there's no specific reasoning.
I think it's just one of those. It just is. Hey, so I'm looking at this texture. Uh, Hold on, I'm gonna have to bring up a picture of it and an X-wing here.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. I don't know.
I took
I
some
may just have to redo the
close-ups.
whole thing.
I took some close-ups in Battlefront. Well, the detail work is nice, but the panel lines is like throwing me off for some reason.
Wait, it's really dirty because I just did like a bucket.
No, yeah, but like the concept of panel lines.
Yeah, good point.
Uh,
It's hard to do with like the pixelation, I think. That's
Yeah.
the main thing.
let's look at
So
some
the
X-wing.
line's too thick. The lines might just see.
Oh yeah, I learned during the week that Battlefront actually has a model for proton torpedoes. If you shoot proton torpedoes, it is this really funky green arrow thing that if you freeze time at just the right moment and get inside of this really weird glow ball that it creates around it, uh, that's what they look like. Couldn't tell you why, but there you go. Now, let's.
It's about a minute behind, so I'll have to wait for this.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just scrolling through a bunch of pictures that I took in Battlefront during the week. Trying to think which one has like the best angles for panel lines. This one's alright. Screw it. I'll just send you some of these pictures. Oh, yeah, you know what? They're oh no, they're not yet. I was gonna say, oh, they're all on the Google Drive, but they're not. So I'll just zip up all these. All right, I just dumped a whole bunch of X-wing pictures in dev chat.
Yep. Well, there's definitely paneling. The issue is that it's just so
Very
small
light.
that it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, it's really small and basically like the same color. It basically
Yeah.
comes down to like lighting differences almost.
Yeah.
It's slightly darker. So as like thin as possible. I don't know if that will come out worse or better.
What if you just didn't have panel lines?
Panel?
No,
Okay.
not on the. So the ones on the wings are like perfectly fine. The ones on the wings are great, but
Yeah, because those are like, they come out on the
yeah,
actual.
but
like,
the
3D
ones
model.
on the fuselage are just strange. What happens
Yeah.
if you just got rid of the panel lines on the fuselage and added that the long red
And just
stripe?
did like really clean
Yeah,
detailing.
yeah, and
Just
do
just
Okay.
got rid
Yeah, I
of the
could try that.
panel
yeah, try that and see what happens.
lines, but instead had like different colored panels, like slightly different colored panels.
Yeah.
We'll have that panel effect, but instead of the lines in between breaking it, it would just be the different panels itself.
I bet anybody who's tuning into the stream that hasn't really been following the progress of the mod, seeing me placed on blocks that are shaped like X-wings is probably very harrowing, and is frankly probably really scary. And in terms of, oh God, I hope this isn't the content that's going to be in the mod. For those people, I can assure you this is not the way that stuff is going to look in the mod.
It's not what it looks like.
Yeah, they're not blocks, I promise.
I'm freaking you as we stack that X-wings.
Yeah, let's put some more in here just for diversity.
I mean, at least they don't have a cobblestone texture anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty funny though. It
I,
wasn't too bad.
honestly, it's a nice mossy cobblestone. It's been sitting in the
Kind
Dagobus.
I get awful FPS in 1.15. Just if anybody
Changed
else
the
has
lighting
experienced that.
engine in 1.15.
Huh?
Performance is actually better in 1.15 normally.
Really?
But there is no, but Optifine isn't. You don't have.
Yeah. Uh, the specific issue that I've been facing with 1.15 is that its render batching system and its render culling system is significantly worse. Uh, so
They did had a bunch of issues. The pre
yeah. So also I'm V-syncing to 60 FPS, and I'm not.
VSync is just
Yeah, I'm not.
the way that Minecraft handles FPS is strange. They were supposed to fix it in 1.15. I'm not sure if they did, but in the game it prioritizes FPS over chunks, and I think they've reversed it, so it prioritizes chunks over FPS.
Yeah.
Basically, it would stop loading chunks to keep an FPS. Now I think it may do the opposite.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is doing the opposite because for some reason not only am I V-syncing to 60 FPS instead of my monitor's 144, uh, but right under where it says integrated server, there's a C and it says right now like 700 and some odd out of 17,424. That number is the amount of chunks that are currently being rendered that are in the render list. And so if you're down low here, there's only going to be a couple, but if you're looking out over a vast area, several hundred chunks are going to be rendered at once. That was not the case in previous versions. It was way better at culling chunks, but specifically in this version, for some reason, it just isn't as good as culling chunks, and so it draws a lot of unnecessary chunks that, frankly, just kills performance. So I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's why they have a 1.15.2 pre out now.
Yeah, I'm still
I'm
on dot one.
not sure if it fixes that yet or what's going on, but I know they did change the lighting engine and it works much better.
Over dot one, dot two does.
Oh, the lighting engine changed 1.15 just general
Hmm.
from 1.14, and it handles lighting a lot better.
Yeah,
So
I'd heard that they changed a whole lot of the rendering backend.
So like there was a big issue with like I had this terrace map.
Hmm.
I had a block model fly around, and it briefly would cover up at the interior of some building that had a hole in it. It
Yeah.
lagged my entire world for about 13 to 30 seconds
Huh.
as it tried to as it changed the lighting of that one room,
Yeah. That's not good.
bedrock. So now if you had something in the sky making some light block, that issue is most prevalent with like flying machines, sky changed the rendering engine as well. I know that
Yeah.
is with entities.
Thank you, Anakin, for the follow. Oh man, I missed a lot of chat in the past couple of minutes. Quite annoying to accept vehicles in Minecraft. They often don't seem so clean in movement. Uh, as it pleased me so far, Mr. Crayfish's vehicles mod. The flight mechanics are really cool, but after all, isn't it very fast for Minecraft? Yeah, the ships, in my opinion, in terms of like playability, move way too fast. I just playing around with it. The reason that they're that fast is because when I was going slower, they just felt kind of boring, and I wanted to play around with it. So there's not too much by way of balance or playability
What's in there?
with what's there.
Both. Yeah, but in contrast, any player would both be moving at that speed.
Yeah.
Shit.
Uh, will there be a way for the dark side to call you and try to turn you? I imagine so. That seems like it'd be the most reasonable way to try to get to try to go towards the dark side instead of staying on the Jedi path. Uh, why are you making the mod for 1.15 if there's an issue with making planes? There's in 1.15 there's not. In 1.12 there was. Yeah, Ezra's lightsaber didn't produce real bolts. Uh, will there be a strong emphasis on gameplay like a need for mining and farming, or will it, well, vanilla gameplay like a need for mining and farming, or play like a lot of mod packs where you need to make machines or something to get your stuff and don't really quote unquote play Minecraft? Um, that's something that I've been really struggling with trying to figure
Is a
out.
good question.
Yeah, because obviously I'd like to try to stay as close to vanilla gameplay as possible,
But also,
while just
there's
yeah, while adding Star Wars content.
like
But
the galaxy aspect.
yeah, but on the other hand, there's just so much content in Star Wars that I feel like one really shouldn't spend too much time focusing on like making you go mine for something or trying to smelt food. Uh, while that's neat, I just don't think the concept of vanilla Minecraft gameplay and the Star Wars universe really mesh well together in terms of how a game that involved those types of content would be played. Uh, so I mean, I'm going to try to tie it as close back to vanilla gameplay as possible, but the end result is probably going to be somewhat mixed.
It also does make me interested in how do like the galaxy work as a whole, like with like other shopkeepers and so on.
Mm-hmm. But we get audio lines like Dark Side and Jedi Academy. They were so obnoxious it was funny. I hope not. Uh, I remember some of the audio lines from Jedi Academy,
I
but
remember some from like Couture, like the Sif what I remember one was like just the Lord Malik will be most displeased.
yeah. Uh, so probably overall probably not really.
Maybe an Easter egg one maybe
Yeah,
there.
I think it's more of a limitation of not wanting to include any audio lines over not wanting to include those audio lines. Uh, I'd have to find voice actors and I'd have to schedule recording time and I'd have to pack all of those audio files into a mod that gets loaded by the game that you have to download and everything gets loaded into memory, and I'm trying to keep this mod as small as possible, and audio files basically are the
Uh,
death of size of anything. So
and that is something I've become very much aware with my resource pack that changes about every sound effect.
yeah. Have you ever seen the re-edits of Jedi Academy? I have not. I've heard of it, but I have not seen it. If you want to link it, that'd be cool. If Twitch lets you link stuff.
Uh, Carolyn Abigui asks Mandalorians.
Uh, sure, why not?
It's
I mean, maybe not. There will be like Mandalorian style items. The possibility of you becoming the Mandalorian and doing the things that he did in the show the way he did them is probably far from likely. But I don't see any harm in adding. I
Steel and
yeah, I see no harm in adding things from the Mandalorian. But it's unlikely that you're gonna be fighting off like a horde of Mandalorian bounty hunters. Carson, I will add this to my watch list. There are two others that are just good, if not better, but the originals will be watched first. Of course.
Gosh. Is one thing I did atmosphere and the Jedi Outcast
Hmm?
Jedi Outcast games, the atmosphere it had was very fun doing when you did the infiltration missions and just exploring.
Oh yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought
For
about that.
this, yeah, I remember that's one of the things that I didn't like about some of the secrets that when they infiltrate, it was just so casual. They just sort of would run around blasting and shooting everything they could, and it just didn't feel like there's any tension. That's one of the things I think Jedi Outcast got right.
Yeah, that's true. Will there be more force powers in PSWG than PSWM? I don't know if there will be. I don't remember how many there were, like quantity wise in PSWM. I would definitely like to include better ones. Uh, so along that road, there will probably be more. Yeah. Wackenhole says, I think it'd be cool if the pack was balanced where you could choose your path to advance and every path was valid. You could go vanilla and mine and farm stuff and build ships, or you could go to Star Wars and smuggle and steal and get ships and stuff. All paths would have to be balanced ways to achieve the end game to promote replayability. That's true. I just feel like that a strictly vanilla path would introduce a lot of like really weird grinding aspects for trying to get certain items or trying to go certain places, and so I think really the best way to figure that out is to play test different possibilities. There we go. Trying to add a entity renderer for ships, or even the ship entity in general. Because so much has changed between 1.7 and 1.15 that everything's gonna have to be added from scratch. Not that that was really coming as a surprise, but it's just an unfortunate fact. Okay, Where'd it go? Where is my ship? Summoned one. It just means
The
everything will
world
be
of
neater
bugs.
internally too. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, what were you saying?
The fun world of bugs.
Oh yeah. Because it has the stuff, it has dimensions. Why on earth is my ship not showing up? Let's try that again. There we go. Alright. What's going on? What type is it? Alright, it's a ship. It's all fine and good. The world's all fine and good. Step into this. There we go. Well, actually, a better thing to ask it is when is it updating? Because it's all fine and good to construct it, but if it's not going to update. Oh, it's called something else now. There we go. Do you have a specific end game in mind? Like beating a boss, building an expensive set of armor, a ship, or completing quests? Not yet. I haven't really looked too much into the story component of how quests will work out yet. Uh, I'll probably have a better answer for that once we start outlining how quests will work in general. So, unfortunately, it's probably the best answer I can give you right now. Somebody asks in the Discord, have I played Vader Immortal, the VR series? No, I have not. Oh, this might not have a hitbox that in a way that you would interact with it, because I think it's on the same level of entity as an item frame right now. That is just an entity that it really doesn't want you to interact with, so it's not going to tell you it's there.
Them frames are a weird entity.
Yeah, it's like paintings. They want you to think it's a block, but
Them
no.
frames use block models, but they're actually an entity.
Yeah, no. Item frames have.
They have interactability.
Yeah, they have hitboxes. Maybe there's something I'm missing because the X-wings are definitely there. How do boats do it? No, I don't want. There we go. So there's got to be some flag that sets whether or not it's able to be interacted with that causes the issue here. So let's start from the top. Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna want to call it inanimate. Oh okay. I am starting to see where I'm going wrong. All right, so we want it to be inanimate. We want it to not be able to climb. That would be very strange to have a climbing ship that could walk up blocks. So, is it pushable?
Might be used
Sure.
for a speeder, but not a ship.
Oh yeah, might be useful for speeders. That's true. Um, enemy damage collides. Yes, collides. Oh, that's actually that's an instance method. We don't care about that. Oh no, it overrides. They just don't have the override flag. because they're boogers. There we go. And that overrides too. That's an override. That's an override. That's an override. There we go. Movement direction. A lot of on-tick stuff. Welcome everybody to the incredibly interesting world of not only modding but debugging. And yeah, the eternally fascinating series of steps that you go through to figure out what the hell is going on. Whoops. I'm clicking all the wrong buttons. I was trying to change scenes to something else and I just started clicking all the wrong things. Alright, where are my ships? I know they're here. They're ticking. Or not? Oh, yep, they're ticking. But where are they? Okay, so I'm still obviously missing something about... Do I have to init the data tracker before they'll start doing anything? Face reveal.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
Yeah, people were saying face reveal. My face is actually on my Twitter account. I do have a face cam set up for this, but I didn't know if the lighting was gonna be good enough in my apartment after the sun went down. And so I could very well turn on face cam. I just don't know if it'd be particularly interesting to watch me sit here and stare at a computer screen.
Just have it in the bottom left corner.
Yeah, it'd be hey Mama Bell, welcome back. Yeah, it's added on Streamlabs still. I just have it hidden. It's in the bottom left, yeah. Screw it, I'll turn it on. What could go wrong? Howdy.
And this stream's gonna be posted after it ends, correct?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up on YouTube, and I might even if I can figure out how to do it, I might make it a VOD on Twitch, but I've never tried to do that. Oh yeah, identity theft intensifies. You're right. Please. Yes, I did click the wrong button. I was trying to change monitors and I clicked on the one that literally says webcam only for some godforsaken reason.
I just saw you turn your webcam on.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm behind.
there's a considerable delay in stream. I don't know why it's taking so long. It might be the anti-snipe thing that Whack was talking about earlier.
If you can't turn that off,
I might be able to turn it off, but I think I'd have to end stream to do it.
it's likely.
Yeah. What's the blue glowing thing behind me?
Vacuum?
The vacuum cleaner. It blinks when it's charging. That might be what you're looking at. Yeah, it's my RGB gamer vacuum. Yeah. Now, if you really want to get, yeah, $999 order now. Yeah, it comes free actually when you order an RTX Titan. Actually, if you want to get super identity theft, the camera that I'm using is actually a Kinect. Believe it or
Is
not.
it?
Yeah. So
I was wondering
oh,
why there was this weird grain on it.
can I turn off audio?
What? Who is that?
Uh, that's me. The audio's going bad through the Connect. It can hear me. I'm gonna have to try to turn it off so it doesn't make noise. Hold on.
Ah, okay.
If I speak any louder than a whisper, it picks it up and makes a really loud noise. Okay. So, you can actually monitor. Let's turn off this surface texture. Uh, so, oh great, and the connect disconnected. So now my cam. Oh, there we go. Uh, so you can actually do the real time 3D. Of course, now that I'm streaming, it's not gonna want to be real time, alas. But you know, this is very interesting. I don't know why I brought this up. Anyway, it's a Connect. Weird. Uh, Now if I don't undisable that microphone, uh, the camera will stop working. I don't know why those things are related, but I figured that out earlier when I was trying to set up the Connect.
Whoa! The 3D thing just turned on. That is weird.
Yeah. See, my cam is frozen. Curse you, Streamlabs. Deactivate. Activate.
Now there's
There we go.
you get a 3D model of your face with a lot of noise.
Oh yeah, have fun signing into my phone now. My phone barely unlocks with my real face. I had initially set up the Kinect because I was gonna try to do the like green screen things that streamers do, where it like cuts them out of the environment that they're in and plops them on the bottom of the screen. Uh, and I was gonna try to do that with Kinect with the depth sensor that like any you know pixels that were further behind me would just not show up. Uh, but the 3D image that that thing produces is just so bad that it just didn't work. So
I mean,
now
it
it's
is a
just a camera.
Kinect.
Yeah, it is a Kinect. This is actually a Kinect for Windows. I bought it a couple years back. They only supported them for like 3 months or something stupid like that. But it was built specifically to use with a computer instead of for your Xbox. And so it's this strange looking little like mutant Kinect, but it's on a tripod, so guess it's fine. What's the recommended specs for a development PC? My laptop is an i5 and an Intel i5 processor and has 8 gigs of RAM, and I am perfectly happy developing on that. So basically, as long as it's not like an i3 processor or only has like 2 gigs of RAM or something, I think you'd be perfectly fine developing on it. If you're going to be doing like mod development or anything like that, I definitely recommend having a graphics card. It helps. You can run Minecraft without one if you're looking to save some money on building a PC. Uh, but even a GTX 980 at this point would be better than not having anything, and you could probably pick one of those up for like $150.
I've actually been looking for a new laptop recently.
Uh, what are you gonna use it for?
I was just gonna be using it for general like work and hopefully do some bit of Minecraft stuff on it.
Okay.
I did find a pretty good deal though. There was a pavilion, HP pavilion that not really designed for gaming much, right? But it's like 1,100 and it's discounted $770.
Discounted by $770 or discounted to $770?
It's discounted by
Oh,
it ends up
jeez.
being 500.
That's really good.
It's 256 gigabyte solid state. make it like 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay. Because I was gonna say if your price point was like $1,000, I would say definitely
Yeah,
go in and customize the crap out of a ThinkPad. Because I've got a ThinkPad that I've
that's what I have currently.
yeah, I love my ThinkPad. I've actually got a couple of them, but I would definitely get another ThinkPad before I got anything else.
Unfortunately, my price range is max like 570,
Yeah, yeah,
and
they do
that
kind of get pricey quick.
and that fits in that price range and is like the best deal I've seen. So
Yeah,
it's got a bit of customization that you can when you order it, but otherwise, you can take on the go because the one I have works pretty well. Like if I'm gonna be sitting, moving and sitting for a while, but if I'm like moving around doing stuff and I have to continuously put it up, it's not good.
right.
Batteries, it's like a 2012, 20 something, and battery lasts about 30 minutes doing nothing.
Yeah,
I kid you
that's true.
not. Kid you not, I've had it running. I think bird pad, left it open, walked away, came back in like 15 minutes, and I had lost half its battery.
Yeah. I had a Republic of Gamers laptop that I used to leave plugged in all the time, and at some point after having it plugged in, the battery just stopped working, and so you'd unplug it to pick it up and move it somewhere, and it would die before you got to wherever you were trying to put it down.
Yeah, like if the like I would sometimes unplug it and I'll be like, oh crap, I've got like got a little bit of time to move this around.
Yeah. Uh, Alpha United says, "Why'd you just continue? Well, why'd you decide to not continue PSOEM? Because PSWG is going to be better. That's pretty much the best reason I can give you. And it was just easier to start making a new mod than try to
Fix everything.
fix the dumpster fire that was PSOEM's codebase.
That, that's the same logic I'm taking with what I'm trying to do with my resource spec now recently is there's parts that I'm just like I'm just gonna remake because I've had it going for about I think it's now 2 years,
Hmm.
and the first textures um they are not comparable to the newer ones.
Yeah,
I mean, and by someone who was like, "Who made that texture?" I'm like, that was the second texture I made for the pack.
yeah.
I
No, you
actually
keep
went
talking. I
through
was
and
just thinking.
updated it a bit before I put it on something because I just hated it so much because I had it stored up.
I'm trying to think. There's a set of screenshots, and I might even be able to go back and find uh, the actual release. Yeah, here we go. Parsi Star Wars mod version 0.1.4.6. Uh, let's load this up in a Forge instance and see what's what. I'm pretty sure. If I get rid of Star Wars mod, I'm pretty sure this old of a version of the old mod just had the worst possible textures on the face of the planet. Guess we'll see. Sin
So
says he'll finish the X-wing this weekend. Yeah, that's fine. Ciao. Thanks for popping in with us, Sin.
I'm probably about to head out soon.
Yeah, I've got to go to bed because I've got stuff I'm doing tomorrow morning. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to find a way to make these textures really big. You know what? I'm just gonna unzip this jar so we can
What did
bask.
you do for texturing? Like what do you use?
I use Paint.net.
That's what I use. I'm trying to learn more about like pixel art and like how it works because there's parts where I'm just like this isn't looking good and just kind of throwing stuff together. And there's parts where I'm like, I got that one down.
Yeah. Some of the textures from the original mod were actually kind of okay. Like, and some of them are really nice. Like, I really like these textures that Weaston did, uh, when we still used like not models for armors and stuff. I think they turned out really well, especially for helmets. And I still use this logo. I mean, this texture is part of one of the logos. But then there were other textures like this one that I made that were the essential pinnacle of programmer art. So this was a bantha horn. Uh, this was a DLT-19. I didn't make this, but the fact that some of these things that very much should have been models from the beginning, the fact that they ended up being
Items.
textures that were items is not depressing, but very, very questionable. This texture, actually, I'm pretty sure you couldn't even find in the mod. It wasn't associated with an item. This is the first texture that was ever made for the mod. This was made by a buddy of mine that I went to high school with. We made this at like 3 o'clock in the morning, doing a live stream that had 0 viewers on it. I don't even think I have the video from it anymore. But we sat down. He made this texture perpendicular sideways, and we rotated it in Paint.net, which is why it's got the really weird like artifacting around the edges. But
Which one?
yeah,
The blaster?
yeah, the blaster. You'll see it in a second.
Oh.
Uh, this
Oh.
was for an item called, and I quote, blaster rifle. It wasn't a kind of blaster rifle. It wasn't a model. It just was the one and only blaster rifle in the mod, which is ironic because this is a pistol and not a blaster
I can
rifle.
see
But
that. I can see like the rotation
yeah,
artifact.
yeah, this texture scares me looking back. Yeah, egg handle, right? It's scary, really. I think this A280 was kind of neat though. Some of them turned out better than others. I'm glad we moved to the model system. Oh, this was this was a blaster bolt. Blaster bolts worked the same way that snowballs did, and so we had to have a texture for them, and so this is the texture for that, unfortunately.
my texture for retexturing arrows is it works, but I wish I could change it to be like a model. I could actually maybe change it.
Yeah. This is the droid color. And you're gonna have to wait a couple minutes before
I'm
you
gonna
see
have
all
to
the
wait
things
up.
before you see the things I'm talking about. Yeah, this is the droid color. These these are actually some of my favorite textures, despite the fact that I did not make them. There were a lot of items that I added into the game strictly for debugging purposes, and so I had this bug that had the big circle and line through it over it for debugging, getting rid of bugs, and so this was for placing down loot chests. There was one that I added later on that was for spawning like land speeder NPCs when I was trying to make them autonomous. This is the Ewok spear into texture, which was probably my least favorite item in the whole game. This is the gaffy stick that got our mod kicked out of Better Than Minecraft 2016. Uh, so
Why?
yeah, so we applied. You should add to the mod as a new legacy Easter egg. Yes, that's a fantastic idea. Uh, yeah, okay, so we applied to be one of the mods in Better Than Minecraft 2016, and we got they looked at our mod and they thought it was a great idea. They wanted us to be a part of it, uh, and so the time came for us to join online and go actually do do the event and go host a booth and all that. And we tried to join and it's like, oh, this mod's not there. And so we called them up and we're like, okay, what's the deal? Why, you said our mod was going to be approved. Why have you removed our mod? And they were like, yeah, people figured out that when you right clicked with a gaffy stick, it made the Tusken Raider noise. And so everybody got as many gaffy sticks as possible, and the entire server was overrun with people just spamming right click to make as many annoying gaffy stick Tusken Raider noises as possible. And so it's just an entire server of like 250 people just "Arr, arr, arr, arr." And the mental image that created was it satisfied me enough that I was like, you know what, we don't even need to go to Better Than
Oh.
Minecon, because
Oh,
the fact that our mod induced so much calamity on this server that they had to just remove it is good enough for me.
uh, that reminds me. I have the husks in my pack are Tusken Raiders, and I went and spawned like I think it was like upwards of 100 of them, and yeah, I can definitely picture that.
Yeah,
The computer was very loud.
it was a fantastic idea, having never made a mod before, thinking, you know what? Yes, when you right-click this item, let's make it play the most obnoxious noise possible. And honestly, that is something that I would like to continue in good PSWG spirit in the new mod. Just have some item that is just so overwhelmingly obnoxious that the players
have, like-
have no choice but to disable it when they're working on servers.
Should be like a legacy like area. Like it's just like one space station just called Legacy. Just
Yeah.
has all the old stuff just hidden in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, here was the first lightsaber texture that was made the same day that that blaster rifle texture was made. It was the generic lightsaber item, and was I don't want to say cancer, because I really appreciate this texture, and I'm really good friends with the guy who made it. And so the texture itself is not cancer, but just the fact that I was naive enough to have a item just called the blaster rifle and an item just called the lightsaber, I think is funny in and of itself. All right, Carson, I haven't clicked on this video yet, but I'm really hoping that this is what I think it is.
I have not clicked on it either.
Yep, that's the one. That was the noise it made. Thank you. I'm glad you posted that. Oh, and this was also made the same day. This is the original lightsaber
Oh,
crystal.
I just see the lightsaber now.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now.
And
That animation. Ooh.
and
Did that didn't interpolate, did it?
no, it just was seizure inducing
It
and
just-
flashed.
Ooh. I can see that.
Yeah. Something that not a whole lot of people knew, and I don't know if it was in this version of it. I'll have to go back and find it. No, it's looking like that. Okay, so all of these record discs were just Star Wars music. I don't think a whole lot of people knew this, and it was a really fun Easter egg to have in the mod, was that inside of Echo Base on Hoth, there was, and I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but there was a room that, because I don't think anybody really fully explored Hoth Echo Base. There was a room inside of Echo Base that, now I'm trying to think if I could go load it up, but I don't think I can. I don't think I have it anywhere.
A room in
Yeah, but there was a room in Echo Base that was a go-kart track, and it had a start-finish line. It had a road that had like lines in the road and all that. It was a go-kart track, and to accompany that go-kart track, there was a jukebox in that room, and there was a chest that contained exactly one record. And nobody has ever brought this up, and I feel like if anybody knew about it, they would have said, "What the hell? Why is this in the mod?" But let's see if I can find the what is this? Oh, it's the wrong mod. No wonder. Let me see if I can find the picture for the record, and then everything will become clear. All right, record. Here we go. It was called Record Drift. The texture was, I think it was 512 no, it was 256 by 256, and it was the Tokyo Drift song. It was just a record that played Teriyaki Boy's Tokyo Drift from Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. And the idea was that you would play this Tokyo Drift song, in that jukebox, and it worked. It was in the mod. It worked just like every other record. I can see if I can go find the record file for it. Um, but it worked, and the idea was you were supposed to play the record, and you were supposed to get in the rebel troop transport that we had in there that we called Scootum-arounds, and the way that
Scooting
Scootum-around,
around.
yeah, the way that Scootum-around's models worked was that they were so asymmetrical on the front and back that when you turned with it, the back would like fly out like you were drifting. And so if you like went around that track in the troop transports, you'd look like you were drifting around the track. And so it was a really fun inside joke. Uh,
Is that the pixel art I've been seeing now for it?
yeah, that was the pixel art you're seeing for it. That was just the album cover for that song scaled down to like 150 pixels. Here, this is gonna get copyright struck, whatever, when this turns into a YouTube video. But the song was there.
Just kind of like,
It existed. It was in the it was in the mind. But there were a few one or two more Easter eggs that were kind of on that scale that I'm glad ended up in the mod, and I think it's funny that that nobody really ever questioned.
just nobody questions Tokyo Drift in the
Yeah,
Star Wars mod.
yeah, the fact that nobody ever brought it up or that nobody ever said in any of the servers, "Hey, what is this? What is this item?" or the fact that it was never posted on the forums or anything like that really makes me think that nobody really ever found it, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the creative menu, and so you could only get it if you had like too many items or something like that, and the only natural place it existed in the mod was in that one specific chest in Echo Base. So the number of people that probably know about that specific item before today is probably, just a little handful.
And now us.
And yeah, and now us. Uh, Hi MNL Crafts. Uh, Carson says, sounds like the Lego Star Wars Hoth bases. Yes. We actually added. Man, now I'm gonna have to go to Hoth. Well, I'll post some screenshots of it in the server later. But we added that sauna that was from the Lego Star Wars Hoth base. The
Oh,
sauna
really?
all the sauna that all the stormtroopers were in. We added that sauna too, and we actually had a number of issues trying to get that room to work, because the room was made out of acacia wood, and behind glass we'd put like a lava wall, and we were having issues that it was catching the wood on fire and trying to burn down Echo Base. And so we had to do some kind of weird things to make sure that Echo Base wouldn't get melted by this one sauna room. You can
What
never
happened to Echo
find.
Base?
Yeah.
It's like some guy's just like, what happened to Echo Base? We
uh,
kind of melted it with the sauna.
yeah, it done. Don't worry about it. It got a little warm. uh
It got warm.
Yeah, Carolina says that she could never find the Echo Base in the mod. The structures were hard to find. Yes, they were very hard to find. We posted maps on the wiki that nobody seemed to read. Uh, but the quests never really told you where to go look, other than like a planet. So that was pretty poor design on our
Very,
part.
very informational.
Yeah, and that's coupled with the fact that structure load times were ridiculously large. Especially for something like Yavin Base. Yavin Base, even on my computer, would routinely take like 5 to 10 minutes to actually load in properly, and it was pretty bad. Carson, that's actually in canon too. Uh, at the beginning of Empire, uh, R2 says something, and 3PO makes fun of him because apparently Leia had said that she was freezing, and R2 took that to mean that uh, he should make her room warmer, and so she did. Oh, so R2 did, and her room got warmer. and 3PO started making jokes that he didn't know how they were going to get all of their princesses' clothes dried out. That's at the beginning of the Empire. Imanol asks, "Do you think you could have a holographic chess game like in the movies?" That game is called Dejeric, and I think I have, yeah, I've got a bunch of information on Dejeric that I'm using as reference photos and what are legal moves and stuff like that, so I can add it to the mod because that is
Ooh.
definitely something I want to add.
Oh yes, Kazakh win. I actually have card textures for Kazakh.
Uh,
Here,
I,
I'm
yeah, I think I saw
I'm
some of
actually
your card textures for it.
I actually have
I've
it right here.
yeah, I haven't played Pazak in a very long time. Uh,
I
Tenzuki
just
asks,
realized there is some. I think the texture might have changed for the back cards because there's a bit of white tips
yeah,
coming.
Tenzuki asks, are you adding Mandalorian type stuff? Yes, I do intend on adding content that is in the Mandalorian. Yes. Imanel says, "Ho, oh, Merry Christmas."
A bit late.
Yeah, yeah, it's only
Had.
yeah like a month late. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I posted in collab the picture.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I think I've seen some of these.
The back card texture has some white showing through on the right side a bit.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I actually have all the color, like all of them, and they're actually reaction emojis on my servers.
Yeah. Uh, I'm actually probably gonna be ending up closing up shop here in a minute. 'Cause I do have some homework that's due at midnight Eastern Standard Time, and it's currently
That's 30
11:30
minutes.
Eastern Standard Time, and I haven't started it yet. Which may
All right.
pose some semblance of an issue. Uh, but we'll see. So I might be ending it here in a second.
I
Uh,
actually have to wake up at 6:30, and that's too soon
why do you have to wake
now.
up so early, if you don't mind?
I got a thing in the morning.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a
Ooh.
breakfast meeting.
So this is all right. We're committing all these changes.
Ooh.
Emmanuel, I know that's not what you meant. Let's not type that password in on screen. Oh, it's caps lock. That's why. Postpone. Push. Yes, I am using IntelliJ. I very much prefer it to Eclipse. Wackanole asks, I know it's not a Star Wars thing, but do you plan on adding alcohol to the mod and what other food items? Uh,
Are there are alcoholic beverages in Star Wars?
yeah. I mean, I'm adding death sticks, so I don't see why not. Um, Obviously, I understand that's the kind of content that some users may find that.
Like I found a bunch of drinks when I went to a well, Disney Hollywood Studios. They have a bunch
Yeah.
of like Arabesh on the walls, and some of them were drinks. One, some of them were pretty interesting.
Uh, yeah. So I understand that's the kind of content that some users may find that they're not going to want to play with. Uh, but with the new data pack system, I think it will be pretty easy for people who may not want that around their kids or something like that. They should be able to just get rid of it.
the add-on.
Yeah. Uh, actually, what I might end up doing is this can stay. Uh, I'll stay online, and this can still be a Q&A stream, but y'all are gonna get to watch me do calculus homework now. So
Fun.
yeah, fun.
Well, I'll be heading off now.
Yeah, I figured. Take care.
Uh, well, yeah, you still have stuff to do.
Yeah,
Good luck.
thank you. You're good, Mama Bell. I don't know if any of your admins ended up being able to drop in, but I'd definitely like to catch up with them too. Yes, please let me in on that write up when you're done. I think it'd be pretty challenging to get. Yeah, but I think with this I'm gonna get a call today. Well, for the Star Wars stuff at least. Yeah, that's true. There could be a config option to turn off 18 plus stuff. One might argue that that's 21 plus stuff, but you know, uh, I think it'd just be easier to. I think the subset of people who would want to not have that kind of content in the mod would it just be more beneficial for them to create, a modified version of it that, say had that removed as a data pack. uh, then they could just distribute that modified version of the mod, down to maybe the people they manage or something like that. All right, kids. Today we're going to learn about vectors and the calculations thereof. So are uh, vectors are a lot like numbers, but instead of one number, you get the infinite displeasure of working with three of them at once, and having them. I need to change stream title. Fuck it, doesn't matter. Yeah, you get the displeasure of working with three numbers at once instead of one. So, how many questions are there? 14. It's not bad. It's a minute and a half per question. We can do it. Uh, so just got vectored. That's correct. I really shouldn't click links like that without looking at them first. Uh, all right, so we want to do dot products. So, all right, night, you guys. Glad you could drop in. Glad you could drop in for stream. I will definitely try to start doing more Q&A streams in the near future. Uh, it's definitely a lot of fun to do work on stream. I don't get a lot of chances to work this closely with the community, so I do really enjoy it. So thank you guys for popping in, uh, and please, I guess share this with anybody else that you feel like may be interested. I'll stay in Discord, uh, maybe for the remainder of the night, as long as I stay streaming. So if anybody wants to pop in and ask any after hours questions, please feel free. And with that, I guess that kind of concludes the Minecraft portion of our day. MLN asked if it's okay for them to make a YouTube vid. Yes, please do. Uh, make videos about whatever you want. All right, so dot products can be found between a two-dimensional vector by multiplying the like coordinate components together and adding the resulting multiplication. So if we have vector 2, 3 dotted with vector 3, -1, you will find that the resulting dot product, which ends up being a scalar, is going to be 2 times 3, because 2 is the x-component of the first one and 3 is the x-component of the second, added to 3 times -1, because 3 is the y-component of the first one and -1 is the y-component of the second one. So you have 2 times 3 plus 3 times -1, which is 6 minus 3, which is 3. And this is going to take me way more than 22 minutes if I start doing all of this out loud. So you guys are just going to have the pleasure of watching me do it without me doing a whole lot of talking. But the concept extends similarly into 3D, but you have 3 components that you're summing together instead of 2. You can find the angle between 2 vectors by understanding that there is a property that dot products have. So if we go to Paint here, I can explain this property. I already know that this homework is going to be late, so if there's a specific question that somebody in chat wants me to skip to, please let me know so I don't waste time doing all of the problems before we get to it. So a property that that dot products have is that if we have, why is that so bad? If we have A dot B, we'll find that it's AX BX plus AY BY. This also has the interesting property of the cosine of the angle between these 2 vectors, call it theta, is A dot B over the magnitude of these are all vectors, is the magnitude of A times the magnitude of B. So if we have vector A and vector B, we'll find that this angle theta can be found by using this property here. So if we're looking at question 2 here, where it wants us to find the angle between vector A defined as 2, 2, -1, and vector B defined as 3, -2, 1, it wants us first to find the magnitude of A, which is the root of the sum of the squares of the components, which is 2 squared, which is 4, plus 2 squared, which is 4, plus -1 squared, which is 1, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. And the second one, which is 9 plus 4 plus 1, which is 14. And just working through this, these steps are all very linear, so. And so 3 times 2 is 6, plus -4 is 2, plus -1 is 1. And so we can observe that MLN asks, when the video is done, would you like me to post it on the server on Discord? Sure, you can if you want. And so using that cosine property that I mentioned earlier, this one here, we can answer this question, which is the cosine theta is A dot B over A, B magnitudes. We find that that's 1 over 9 times 14, and 9 times 14 is, of course, 126. And so we may find that theta is that which if we go to Desmos, because it wants a real answer, we can find the inverse the inverse cosine of 126th is 1.56. How many two decimal places? Is 1.56 radians. Is this what it wants? No. Am I a doofus? Oh yeah, it wants the square root of this. So that's 3 and square root 14. And so then that's 3 times the square root of 14. And that's that there. And we put this here. And that's 1.48, which is basically the same thing anyway. Great. So question 3 wants us to find the scalar projection of B onto A. Now, scalar projections are weird, and I don't quite understand them. So luckily, WebAssign questions are, if you finish before me, why are we doing this on stream? Cool. Night Carolina, thank you for dropping in. So these questions guide you through them. They're pretty straightforward. It really just wants us to plug some of this in. All right, MLN Crafts, thanks for dropping by. What is this asking for? Oh, I see. If you don't have one, I recommend the TI 36X Pro. Uh, yes, I actually have a TI 36X, but uh, I just prefer doing things in Desmo, so I'm on desktop. I have one that I use in class though. Oh boy. I got some of it done before midnight. Yeah, there's only like a 5% penalty, I think, for turning it in. Oh, it's 1 point off for turning it in after midnight. And I've been doing all my other homework before midnight. Well, like before the 24-hour mark even for stuff. So I've racked up enough extra credit that I deserve to be able to do this a little late, I think. Plus, I'd much rather be doing a Q&A when everybody's around and I could answer questions and stuff instead of doing this anyway, frankly. So, perfect. All right, so that's about it. I enjoyed everybody coming out this afternoon. I'm gonna try to schedule a little more in advance streams like this with the mod team so that we've got a couple more developer members coming on. We thought Weaston was going to be able to join us this afternoon, uh, and Coda and Blue and all of them. But unfortunately, they all had things going on, which is fine. we'll catch up with them later. Uh, so I'll try to be, probably more firmly scheduling things like this so we can uh, have a good chat with them because they are, critical parts of the team. But it was nice to be able to talk to Sin, talk to Coda, uh, talk to Luke, and we did get some valuable insight into how things are going, and we got a little homework done. And so I think today was a pretty valuable stream. It only lasted a couple hours, but I'm glad everybody was able to come out. Uh, this is the first time I've streamed in years, frankly. So I'm glad we had quite a bit of a turnout. And Mama Bell, I'm looking forward to being able to work with you this year again for any camps that you might be doing. So drop me a line when you're trying to get stuff sorted out for that. So with that, I'd say that that's it. So I thank everybody for coming out, and I'll catch y'all later.